Hey party people, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something totally different. It's sort of a mixture between a narrative piece and everything I know about Agnes Crumplebottom. So if you want to learn more about Agnes Crumplebottom, but in a different way, in a way you haven't seen before, continue watching. Let me know if you like this type of thing, and I'll think about doing another one. Thank you. For a while now, Agnes Crumplebottom has been attacking couples. Why does Agnes hate love? And how will her behavior affect her beloved garden shop? This is her story. Sometime last week, we had a visitor at the office. It was Kim Goldbloom, the local grocery shop owner. In Kim's words, apparently Agnes is a huge crank. She's often seen in the village square, convincing tourists and newcomers to approach Kim and berate her. This week alone, Miss Crumplebottom has convinced 4 people. The harassment is getting to be stressful for Kim. Kim's hiring me to dig up some dirt on Miss Crumplebottom to not only fully understand why she seems to be such an unpleasant person, but to also have some backup when she finally puts an end to Miss Crumplebottom's harassment. I'm about to spend a few days investigating Miss Crumplebottom. I want to find out what makes her tick. What does she do in her free time? But most importantly, what's her backstory? On the outside, Agnes Crumplebottom seems to be a normal, active elder. Her cousin Agatha helps her run a garden stall in the middle of the village. They both seem like respectable ladies on the outside, but that doesn't mean they're not hiding something. I ended up visiting their stall, but Agatha was the only one working that day, which was great because I had a few questions for her. I wanted to learn more about Agnes and get an insider perspective. Through our conversation, I learned several things about Agnes, like she's a Virgo, which makes sense since Agnes seems practical and logical. She's been a hopeless romantic, grumpy, loner, frugal, and a bookworm. Nowadays, she aspires to be a freelance botanist, and she's more hot-headed than grumpy, as well as less frugal and more of a collector. She told me how Agnes had moved around before settling in Henford-on-Bagley. She's lived in Sunset Valley, downtown, and her sister Cornelia Goth has actually moved to Pleasant View in recent years. After a few Henford heart-to-hearts, Agatha finally hinted at something that actually interested me. She explained to me that Agnes is my cousin and we've known each other since we were little girls. Honestly, she could stand to loosen up a little. Like me. I'm the fun one. Then again, I haven't gone through what she has. I asked her what she meant by that last sentence, but we were interrupted by a customer she had to deal with. It was then that I noticed the mayor was out and about in the town square. Might as well ask her about Agnes since we're already here. As soon as the mayor realized I wasn't there to do any favors, she immediately knew what this was about. Agnes assaulting strangers in town. The mayor explained that she's reprimanded Agnes before, yet nothing stops her from attacking innocent couples. She's scaring off the tourists, which is bad for business. And that was it. Well, actually, she did leave me with one good piece of advice. She did tell me that, don't tell her I said anything, but there's one surefire way to get in Miss Agnes Crumplebottom's good graces. The right favor. She's a sucker for high-quality cross-stitches and butter crumpets. Then the mayor left. Apparently, the mayor had a meeting she had to be at, but I don't think that's true. I think she just didn't want to talk about Agnes any further. I decided to test my luck at the village pub, owned by the local woman named Sarah Scott. She must know all the village gossip. When I arrived, it seemed like everyone was at the pub. Fortunately, Sarah was behind the bar. Unfortunately, the pub was pretty full and it didn't look like Sarah would be able to chat at the moment. I talked to her and she agreed to meet me at my office at a later date. Sarah was helpful, but she didn't have too much info on what Agatha could have meant by the "then again, I haven't gone through what she has" comment. Nonetheless, she did tell me something that was sort of interesting. She told me a story about how one time she went into the bathroom to clean it, and she saw the weirdest thing. It was Agnes washing her hands, but no, not normally. She was doing this sort of thing, which is bizarre to say the least. I thanked Sarah for her time and ended our meeting. I decided it was about time to do some investigating on the internet. Not going to lie, it took a while to find anything related to Agnes, but once I did, oh boy, was it ever just the weirdest stuff. Let's just say I found a lot of photos for a lady who doesn't actually have any social media accounts. Here are some of the things I found. Well, to begin, Agnes sure loves to party. She also clearly loves her purse. It doesn't seem like she'll ever leave it at home. I'm not sure why she went swimming in her everyday clothes, but okay. However, I found something I never wanted to see or even know about. I mean, I can't show you this. It'll violate YouTube's policies. Come on. After hours of research, I didn't have a lot to show for it. I wanted to give up for the night, but I kept going back to what Agatha said.
I haven't gone through what...
Then, I found it. It was an obituary for a wealthy man who went by the name of Robert Crumplebottom. According to this, he was the late husband of none other than Miss Agnes Crumplebottom. He was a renowned philanthropist and puppeteer who took Agnes's last name once they got married. Alas, their marriage didn't last long. He died when a chandelier dropped 2 stories and landed on him. She must have been devastated when he died. What a tragic way to go. This explains why she seems to hate love. Oh, and lastly, I found another very bizarre thing on the internet. It was a video of a woman who looked and acted eerily similar to Agnes. So it seems like Agnes Crumplebottom isn't the only one who hates romance enough to scream at strangers in public. After searching further, I can confidently confirm that this woman is not Miss Agnes Crumplebottom. Not at all. Agnes actually has a distant relative who goes by the name Mrs. Crumplebottom. Interestingly enough, she's located downtown, which is where Agnes has previously lived. I know it's weird that there's 2 of them. It is weird enough with one. There are 2 separate Crumplebottoms who both use their purses as a weapon against loving couples. They both rock a horrible off-white skirt suit with a pearl necklace, but they're not the same person. It's about time players, I mean people, recognize this and stop confusing the 2. Maybe hating love is a genetic trait in this odd family. Who knows? I called up Kim and asked her to meet me at my office. I had enough information for her at this point. When she arrived, we talked a bit about the weird things I found, like the hand washing or lack of hand washing, her doppelganger, and her love for a good cage dance. Afterwards, I told her about Agnes's late husband Robert. We discussed how Agatha hinted at Agnes's tragic past and how she's been through some stuff. After investigating Agnes for a few days, I found myself really sympathizing with her. Although I do feel like she should have gone to therapy rather than assaulting strangers on the street, it's still sad to see how life can treat someone, like Agnes. I think Kim was feeling a similar thing. She thanked me for my time, e-transferred me some money, and was on her way. A few days passed and I just couldn't stop thinking about Agnes's story. I wanted to talk to her myself, which is something I never really do, unless my client stated otherwise. On the other hand, the case was closed. Kim got what she wanted and I got paid. Talking to Agnes was free game now, in my books, so I did just that. I found Agnes pretty easily. She was just people watching close to our garden shop in the village square. She actually seemed to be in a good mood today and was up for a chat. Oh, sorry about that. I forgot I was translating. Here we go. At first, it was all just small talk, the weather, the upcoming fair, her garden, you know, the basic stuff. At that point, I confessed that I saw an article about her late husband a few days ago and wanted to give Agnes my condolences. She seemed slightly taken aback and then very curiously asked, Which one? It turns out that Robert wasn't the only man she had married. A long time ago, she had married a man named Eric Darling. They had a quick courtship that ended in them getting engaged, buying a giant house together, and they got married. They both longed for a baby, which was one of the main reasons why they rushed their courtship. In fact, even before their wedding, they had started to decorate a nursery. Even so, the nursery wasn't completed before their big day. As a result of this, it wasn't finished when they went on their honeymoon either. Then, the unspeakable happened. They were at the hotel when Eric drowned while swimming. Agnes claims she wasn't at the pool when it happened, and blames the hotel for inadequate pool ladders. It was at this point where Agnes, who looked completely out of sorts, proclaimed that I have let certain men into my life in the past, Robert, Eric, but nothing good came of it. I spend my time with Agatha and my plants nowadays, and that's enough for me. After having said that, Agnes curtly asked me if I'd been getting into that biscuit jar again, and was on her miserable way, probably going home to tend to her garden or something. As I walked back to my office, I realized how strange it was that I never found anything about Eric while searching online, and that made me feel a wee bit uneasy. I began my online search once more. I had to find out about the circumstances of Eric's death. I felt like it was improbable that both of Agnes's short marriages ended when both men were accidentally killed directly after their wedding. I wasn't finding anything about Eric until I decided to search for his death using his full name, Eric Darling, instead of anything to do with Agnes Crumplebottom. That was when I found it. An article about his untimely demise. Near the end of the article, it stated that they're unsure of how his wife, Agnes, was involved in his death, but there are reports from poolside witnesses that make it so that the police suspect that he might have been a victim of foul play. The article stated that after finalizing the autopsy results, reviewing the security footage, and more interviews, the police will have a better understanding of what might have happened to Eric. The article was never updated, and there was literally nothing else about Eric. No public police reports, no social media accounts, no family, no memorial, nothing. It was almost as if someone scrubbed the internet clean of any mentions of Eric, Agnes, or her role in his death. It felt very suspicious. I'm not saying that this is the truth, but from an outsider perspective, I could see how easy it was to assume Agnes was a gold digger who married two rich men for their money. She did, after all, inherit their fortunes as soon as they died. Despite that, I wasn't too sure. She seemed sincere and depressed as she talked about her love for Eric and their dreams of being parents. I had to go visit the home they once shared in Sunset Valley. I just had to. As soon as I arrived, I realized something painfully obvious. Other than the fact that this house is painfully hideous, no one ever moved in after Agnes left. I didn't enter the household in fear of the neighbors calling the police on me, but I did walk around the house. I found Eric's tombstone pretty easily and unexpectedly. Would a murderer bury her victim outside of their home? Or does that reflect the fact that Agnes was truly in love with Eric? After exploring the lot, I stood on the street for a while, just staring up at the house. Until this happened. To say I was shocked and a little scared was an understatement. Eric's ghost sort of floated through the front door. You could hear wailing and thumping, almost as if he was possessing something very heavy. You could even hear him howling out Agnes's name from time to time. Well, now I know why Agnes never tried her hand at love again. How could she? She had her late husband haunting her house, their home. I could imagine any potential suitors might have left and never looked back. I could imagine why she moved away. It all made sense to me now. I wish I could tell you that Miss Agnes Crumplebottom's story has a happy ending. It'd be amazing to tell you that somehow, Agnes found Eric's book of life, or maybe his ghost finally left that old property and visited a wishing well with a few simoleons. Maybe she got herself a Resurrectonometron phone, and called up Grim Reaper and paid for Eric's resurrection. It's heartbreaking to end a story with such a sad reality. Agnes Crumplebottom is a sad, grumpy old lady who lost not just one, but two true loves. She got labeled as a gold digger and has spent her entire life in such a miserable and angry state. This is truly a depressing ending to Miss Crumplebottom's story. Well, true in my game. What about yours?